What's going on, guys? So today we are of course at the 2022 Chicago Auto Show, and I'm standing next to the refreshed 2022 Lincoln Navigator. This of course is Lincoln's largest SUV, one of their most popular products, and they've done an extensive refresh of this model this year, to keep things nice and competitive against new rivals like that. Of course, the quintessential Cadillac Escalade and the new Lexus LX 600, which have both just came out. And we're gonna go ahead and take a first look at it right now. So let's kick things off here with what they've done to the exterior. Of course, with the refresh, you have to revise the styling. This is a little bit of a subtle refresh for sure. This is not super obvious when you walk up to it, what the differences are, but they've massage things in the front here, such as the grille, just to give it a little bit more refined look, keep it in line with all their newest products like the Corsair as well as the Aviator. So you have the nice chrome mesh grille. I love the light up emblem though, that's really cool. The previous Navigator we've sampled did not have that, so I don't know if that's new or not, but I really like that feature. Of course, you're going to notice a lot of chrome because this Lincoln really symbolizes American luxury. So just like with the Escalade, it's kind of about bling and having that traditional luxury experience that you don't get from like a German rival, for instance. They've also revised the headlights a little bit, so they've slimmed them down. They kind of shaped them in, as you can see, they're a little less blocky now. And we do have the projector LED headlights with the daytime running light. Obviously, just like what we had before, Lincoln's really big into the signature lighting elements, so when you walk up to it, you're going to notice that fading in, slide across through there, which is really nice and premium. And we do have the Lincoln Motor Company scripted right there into the headlight, which I think is a nice classy touch. As far as our other lighting elements, the turn signal indicator is going to be right there, and then we do have some gloss black accents running along the bottom, as well as a LED fog lamp. As we move around to the side, of course, you're going to have refreshed wheel designs, as with all refreshed models. This specific model is the reserve trim level, so we have got these really beautiful and very detailed contrast alloy wheels. I love the way these have this like insert that kind of goes across it with the polished finish, and then all the rest of it is gloss black. Really stands out, and it's kind of a signature Lincoln element. Above that, you've got your Navigator branding, which runs right through there, and you have the gloss black mirrors. Of course, you got blind spot monitoring, auto dimming, heating, power folding, the whole shebang when it comes to the mirrors. And as we kind of look at the side here, this is where you're not going to notice too many changes. Lincoln didn't really change the side. They kept it with that nice square boxy design. You do have the chrome elements that are going to run all the way through here and wrap around into the back. And I think as far as all of the places where Lincoln made changes, the back is where you're going to notice it with the styling. So what they've done is really modernize and slim down the taillights. That's one of the things I wasn't particularly fond of with the outgoing model. The taillights looked a little fat, so now they've slimmed those down substantially. As you'll see, a lot thinner. We've got this nice strip of LED that's going to trace through there and go all the way across the back. And then we've got all the three-dimensional elements that run through there. Again, these are going to have like animations, stuff like that looks really good. We've got the chrome strip, and then we've got Lincoln branding spelled out across the back. As far as things that I see in the back, we do have the gloss black finish. No exposed exhaust outlets on this specific example, but one of the things that did carry on is the fact that you can open the rear glass and the tailgate itself separately. And opening up the tailgate, since we're already here in the back, let's talk about cargo capacity before we go into the general interior improvements. As you can see, it's going to still continue to be a very large SUV. This is the standard wheelbase model. You can get the Navigator L, which is equivalent, of course, to like an Escalade ESV. That's going to give you absolutely insane amount of space. This is still very spacious, even in the standard configuration, because with the third row up, you still have just as much space as you do in really a lot of two-row luxury SUVs. Underneath of here, we've got a little bit more storage. Nice carpeting, of course, because it is a luxury SUV. And you've got all the controls here, so you can power fold the third row. You can remotely release the second row as well, and that's going to expand you up to a ton of space. I don't have the figure right on the top of my head, but like I said, really one of the biggest SUVs that you can get on the market for sure. Now let's go ahead and close this up and check out what they've done to the interior, because there's some changes I think you're gonna like in there. All right, so join me inside of the interior of the refreshed Navigator. So obviously this has always been a very nice place to spend time. Lincoln has really done a lot to elevate this to be better than the Expedition, which of course is the related sibling to this Navigator. So let's see what is different, and specifically before we talk about some of the general elements. I think the number one thing that your eyes are going to be drawn to is this new display. So as you can see, this is substantially larger. This was one of the weak spots of the last model year because you only had an 8-inch display. As you know, big screens are in fashion these days. The bigger the better. So now we've got a much larger display right there in the center. It's still nicely integrated though, which I really like because it kind of just goes right into the vents, which have also been enlarged a little bit. And you've got, again, all the nice chrome elements here, which give you that really classy luxury vibe. Now, talking about some of the general, well, I should mention as well, you do have the digital gauges to go along with that, which you did have last model year as well. But let's talk about some of the cabin materials. So, like I said, nice materials. You do have the soft touch dashboard with the kind of leatherette finish, the stitching details that run through here. Beautiful open pore wood, which does pass behind this display. So that's one of the things that looks so nice about this display, is it kind of just stands up freeform, which I really like, but it's still like really within reach, so you don't have to reach. The console is the other element that's also kind of freeform. So this continues to float out in its own console, which is just a really lovely touch. I really like this every time I'm in a Navigator model. And then generous use of more open pore wood as well as piano black and chrome accents. Taking a look at some of our storage, the console space here is enormous, as you would expect. Tons of space for your coupons. Underneath of the pieces of wood, we have the wireless phone charging pad, 2 USBs, 2 cup holders, and all that space that you were looking at in the floating center console, of course. Full, beautiful leather wrapped steering wheel. And one of the changes I'm seeing is this insert right here. I'll let Mason take a look at that. This right here goes with the new Blue Cruise system. I'm not sure if Lincoln has its own name for Blue Cruise or not, but that's definitely what Ford is calling it. And it is a semi-autonomous level 2 highway driving system. So at this point, I believe it's up to 200,000 miles of US highways. You can drive this Navigator, drive it hands-free. So you can activate this, and now with this updated Navigator, you can let your hands off, and as long as this is watching you and you're paying attention, you'll be able to cruise down the highway without even having your hands on the wheel. So that's definitely a nice addition this year. Now, of course, this could not be a Lincoln review without talking about their perfect position 30-way power adjusting seats. Really, no one else in the industry does as many ways of adjustment as Lincoln does. Basically, every single panel of this can be adjusted, even down to 2 separate thigh supports. So if you can't get comfortable in these seats, I don't know what you're going to get comfortable in. Obviously, you do have power massage as well, and you can make all those adjustments over there on the door trim. You even have that on the passenger side with the 3-person memory seating, heating, ventilation, the whole shebang. So I'm really impressed by that. The other thing I want to look at is the speaker grills right there. As you can see, you have the beautiful full metal speaker grills because this has the Revel Ultima sound system. So this is one of the best automotive sound systems that I've ever sampled before, and it really is very impressive every time I'm in a Navigator. And then finally, wrapping up this interior, I notice all the door grabs are going to be leather covered up on the roof as well as right there. And then you've got the full panoramic sunroof, which extends all the way back to the second row. So obviously, as a very spacious luxury SUV, you've got plenty of space back here. There's also a ton of differences between this and the Expedition, which we did also sample as well. So one of the things I'm noticing is this beautiful console arrangement. Lincoln puts this full console. It's almost very similar to the one in the front. And inside of that, you do have some controls and stuff for climate, as well as your cup holders. And you've got full storage, just like the front. So tons of space to stick things, which I really appreciate. And then a bunch of storage down here as well. Now, looking at some of our rear amenities, we can control the sunshades back here with that button. We've got a USB Type-C and USB-A connection, 12-volt outlet, and full power outlet, as well as more cup holders that fall out of the bottom. The seats themselves are, of course, captain's chairs with the dedicated armrest here. If I'm not mistaken, you probably can delete this console if you would rather have the pathway through, but regardless, and I'll let Mason kind of demonstrate this right now, it's actually very easy to get to the third row because you can just push that button there and slide the entire thing back. And I'm going to go ahead and hop in there. One of the things I'm so thankful that has not changed is one of the industry's best third rows here with the Navigator. With the independent rear suspension, space is so abundant. I'm 5'8", so I'm not incredibly tall, but it's so amazing to sit back here and have almost the same comfort as I do in the second row, which does slide and tilt as well. As you can see, my thighs are completely supported and the seat is very high off the ground, yet I still have plenty of headroom up here at the top and plenty of space to slide my feet underneath the seat as well. As far as what you got back here, it looks like we've got a little bit of storage right there. You can maybe slide a cell phone. Of course, we've got rear vents, as you'd expect, full LED lighting, cup holders, and then one of my favorite features is this right here. I have a power recline, so I can even slide back and get unbelievably comfortable, especially, like I said, this is the standard wheelbase Navigator. And in terms of our powertrain, it will continue to have the 3.5-liter EcoBoost twin-turbo V6 engine, making well over 400 horsepower. You also have the 10-speed automatic, as you would expect, and production of this has begun. So they build this in our home state of Kentucky, Louisville, Kentucky, and both the Expedition and the Navigator are now in production, so you can look forward to seeing these perhaps start to arrive at your local Lincoln dealership in the next month or two. Pricing should remain just about in line with the previous model, maybe just a little bit higher because of a few extra features you have on board. But like I said, you can expect to see this and check this out in person really relatively soon, as well as on our channel. So you're going to see us do a full in-depth review of this as soon as we can get our hands on one. So make sure you go ahead and go down below, subscribe, so you're going to see that video as well as hundreds of other car reviews as soon as they drop. Also follow us on other social media such as TikTok and Instagram. Take care.